This is what 30 lakh rupees of pure fun looks like. The Ducati Streetfighter V4S, a motorcycle which can go nuts and can scare you crazy at the same time. This motorcycle is almost a year and a half old and it has started to show some age, but then again I got a chance to ride this motorcycle after so long. Yet this is the highest revving engine that I have ridden because it redlines close to 14,500 RPM. Let me tell you everything about it because this is nice. Before we begin, subscribe to MotorBeam and don't forget to hit the bell icon, yeah? When I say this motorcycle has started to show its age, the red color on the switchgear has gone a little dull. And here on the engine head, you can see a few watermarks and something like that. And a few tiny scratches and things here and there. Plus, I've got a brand new tire this time. The motorcycle has only done close to 6,500-7,000 kilometers. And for that, a new tire has already come. So yes, this thing burns a lot of rubber. But the first thing which I love about this motorcycle, it's the engine, it's the performance of this motor. This one is a 1103cc V4 Stradale, a motor that has inspired from MotoGP, and this one, being a V4, it's still so damn smooth. It produces close to 208 bhp of power and about 123 Nm of torque, but this motorcycle weighs only 199 kgs and that power to weight ratio is just crazy. It gets a 6-speed gearbox with quick shifter up and down, and the way this one delivers power, madness all over the place. It has a decent low end, a very strong mid-range and a crazier top end too. There have been times when I've popped wheelies on this motorcycle and then again this motor just pulls even after landing. So that is even crazier, yeah. The way this V4 motor sounds is something to get used to because it sounds really different. And that was just till 5,000 RPM. If I rev it too hard, people will come down over here. When I say this motorcycle is easy to ride, it is easy to handle, it's all because of the tech package, the electronics that it has to offer. There are tons and tons and tons of control. You get Olin forks which are electronic control, so that is DES for you. There's traction control, wheelie control, slide control, electronic braking control, engine braking control, my bad. And then there's like so many controls right over here, and you can set different levels. There are presets with different modes. There are 3 riding modes, so everything over here is controlled. Then again, it is still so ballistic that it will scare you crazy. And then it is the way this motorcycle looks, the design that it carries. Yes, it is a naked pani gale, but then again the face is an aggressive face. These winglets, the golden forks, a stealth black color scheme. This motorcycle talks about attention, and the number of head turns I've got on this motorcycle just because of the sound and the way it looks, it is just maddening. People have sat on the motorcycle and asked me to click their picture because they are just amazed by the way it looks. It's a Ducati and people know it really well. I say the ergonomics are a bit of pros for this motorcycle because when I sit on this, the 845mm of seat height is a little bit intimidating. So I am kind of tiptoeing on a naked motorcycle for the first time ever. And then again the handlebar is right here, but I am leaned in. When I pull my leg up, my legs are quite close to my bum, so yes, it is a complete rear set. But for me, for a person who's just 5 feet 6 inches, this is comfortable yet sporty at the same time. I've got enough space to move around, and yes, this motorcycle does give a cocoon feel overall. But what about the pillion? Here, things are going over the second floor. I've got Adil with me who'll sit as a pillion. Now he's a tall guy, he's taller than me. And let's see how tall he gets over here now. If I sit properly like this, he can see everything. और मैं थोड़ा ज़्यादा भगा लिया पक्का पीछे. So for a pillion, this is not the place to be. बिल्कुल भी नहीं है. But for a rider, this is nice, very nice. All you do is get this motorcycle and get a seat cowl. किसी को बिठाओ मत पीछे. Best. This motorcycle has a very bad habit of lifting its wheel every now and then, and that is where the steering dampener comes into place. Not to put the wheel down, but when the wheel comes down, there is a wobble that comes to the handlebar, and this is what saves it. If you don't have a steering dampener and if you're doing crazy amounts of speed, triple digits all the time, you might not really be safe. Here it is an Öhlins unit, and this is one of the best systems I've seen till date. I've been sweating like crazy. My goodness, this motorcycle does emit a lot of heat, and it's not that ke engine ke yahan pe you can feel the heat. When you are riding, it throws all the air to your legs because this is a very compact and tight motorcycle. You can see within the size of mine, the whole engine, chassis, exhaust, everything comes over here. So yes, this motorcycle is quite tightly packed, and because of that, a lot of heat comes to your legs. And when you stand still, it's onto the tank. You can literally feel a lot of heat over here. This is just maddening. The next issue on this motorcycle is the ground clearance. Now, this motorcycle बहुत ज़्यादा low है. You can actually see that there's literally no space below. If I try to slide my foot in, बस इतना सा gap you can feel. Now, that thing becomes a problem when you are riding in bad kind of roads, or there is a chance that you are hitting very high but thin speed breakers. Now, that is where this motorcycle hits, and there is a good chance that there can be an oil leak because the oil filter drain and everything is right over here. This over here is the clutch cover, as you can see, and this motorcycle uses a wet clutch. Now, Ducatis are known for having a dry clutch, and the main difference between both of them is that dry clutch does not have oil and it makes a lot of noise. However, dry clutch will have better performance output, but in Indian riding conditions that is not suggested because the clutch cover is kind of open. You can actually see and touch the clutch, and then there is a chance that debris or dust or something can get inside, and you might have to service it again and again. Wet clutch does make the performance drop off a little, only by a slight margin because there's a liquid to handle. Now, as you can see, you guys can see a lot of me, and when I'm tucked behind the motorcycle, yet you can see a lot of me, and that is the case with the Windblast too. A lot of wind hits you. Now, this motorcycle is capable of doing 299 km per hour without thinking twice. As soon as you cross the 150 mark, there is so much wind, there is so much push that you get from the front. You literally are hanging onto the motorcycle. This motorcycle is trying to take off all the time, and these winglets do come in handy. But then again, you yourself have to be very, very stuck onto the motorcycle because Windblast is bad. It's worst I've ever seen. You get a 16-liter fuel tank over here, and when we are reviewing regular motorcycles, 16 liters is something great. But then this motorcycle returns a mileage of 10 to 12 kilometers per liter maximum. I've been able to achieve 14 when I was riding sanely, but that was just once when I took the motorcycle out of the showroom and came on the highway. After that, after the shoot, the whole thing, best number 10 kilometers per liter. In that, you get a riding range of just 120-140 over here, and with that, this motorcycle does not even get a fuel gauge. So you directly get a notification on the left that the fuel sign has come and you have to fill fuel. What is this, yaar? Because you guys might have definitely heard that servicing a Ducati is costlier. Yes, it is definitely there, but for the newer bikes, the service interval is a little bit longer. However, there is one interval that comes where the valve clearance and everything else has to be checked, and that is where the major cost comes into picture. This or any other Ducati that has desmotromic valves needs that check, and yes, the service will pinch your pocket a bit. Last con is nothing else but the price of this motorcycle. When I say this, the value for money tag for 30 lakh rupees of too much fun is not really worth it. This thing has the tech, this thing has everything that you ask from it. The Streetfighter V4S is a mad motorcycle. It's crazy, it's scary, but yet it is very friendly to a rider who gets used to it. For the price, I'm sorry, it's just a little too much. As we are riding this now, the 2023 or 24 version of this specific motorcycle has already come out with a few updates. That being that the swing arm is a little bit differently mounted, electronic packets have been updated even more with a lot more options, and then again you get keyless go feature where right now there's a key that's there. Apart from that, this motorcycle is just the maniac it is, and it's become a lot more controllable, complying to the Euro 5 BS 6.2 norms. So if you are looking for getting yourself a Streetfighter V4S or the V4 even, or even considering the V2, getting a Ducati is a pride in itself. Get one if you can afford one. That is one thing that I'll say, because these bikes are Italian beauties that demand attention and maintenance. And on that note, it's time to end. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.